Hi everyone! Welcome to this quick tutorial on how to use Sculpting Viz to make a visualization of real data. To start out with, we're going to make sure everything is running the way we want it to be. So first I'm going to start Docker, and I'm going to make sure that our Sculpting Viz app container is running. So I'm going to click Start on that. This will look fairly similar for macOS if you're using that. So you need to make sure to do this step first, otherwise the Viz Manager won't be running and you won't be able to design any visualizations. So next, we're going to pull up a web browser. I'm just going to pull up Firefox here and go to localhost :8000. And this will show us the visualization design interface where we'll actually put the visualization together. Next, I'm going to make sure Unity is running with our Sculpting Viz app project. It might look something like Sculpting Viz app-CSI5609 if you've used the zip file that we provided you. So that's nicely pulled up here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to hit play over in Unity land. And notice nothing really shows up here yet because we haven't actually put together anything on the left. But just before we get started, the controls for moving around the visualization is left mouse button to orbit and right mouse button to zoom. Or if you have a touchpad, Control left click also works to zoom. So the design interface on the left is composed of three main parts. First, we have the visualization composition window, which is where we actually put it all together. And then we have the data that are sourced from the left, and we have the viz assets that are sourced on the right, so such as color maps, glyphs, lines, and textures. This is also where we get our individual data impressions, which are the layers in our visualization, which we build up one at a time. So to start out with, I'm just going to drag and drop this data impression for surface data over into our composition window. And nothing's happened yet because we haven't applied any data. So the first thing we're going to do is apply contour, which is just a blob of data here. And we'll drag and drop that puzzle piece into the key data receptacle that matches there. And when we drag and drop that, it shows up nicely in our visualization window. It just shows up with a default color, which is white in this case. But say maybe we wanted to apply a color map to some variable that exists on this data. So I can first click color variable. Maybe I'll color the x-axis. Again, this is just a test data set, so there aren't any super exciting anything here, but I can click on x-axis and drag and drop a color map to be applied on our x-axis value. Yeah, so that's the basics for how to apply viz assets and data to data impressions. Other types of viz assets work in much the same way. So for instance, like if I wanted some textures, I don't actually have any right now. So I could go to our Sculpting Viz library. This is the curated library that is available to you to use in visualizations, and also available to you is these gradients. So these gradients will be populated with your stuff once you start working on assignment 3. So I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop this gradient into the design interface. Now if I pull up texture, I see my nice gradient there. So I can actually apply this to our pattern, and maybe I want to apply that to the y-axis. Yep, so we've applied this pattern to the y-axis of this blob object in the visualization here. So at this point, maybe I'm ready to take a break, and I don't want to lose my work, so I'm going to hit the Save button over in our design interface. So I'm going to save this as, I don't know, contour test. And then later when I come back, I can click this load state button, and we notice that the contour test is right here. So that's about all that we're going to talk about for this first tutorial. Thanks for watching.